development community. Happy Friday. I have a feeling that today is going to be a little better for me than it was yesterday. So I hope you guys are enjoying your day too. So let me see. Who have we got on so far? Looks like we have people pouring in. Trish and Kim and Erica, Taruna, Joe Suarez, Jack Hutchinson, Mark, Hassan, Rubina, Cheryl, Rakesh. Thanks for joining us this morning. I hope you guys are having a good Friday so far. So we're going to be talking about Reddit, and I wanted to sort of show you a little bit more about how I use it, which is really, really simple. I am by no means an expert in using Reddit. What I had initially done when I had decided to do this broadcast was I invited some of the moderators from some of the different subreddits, which we'll go over some of the terminology in a bit. Some of the e-learning and the instructional design and the training subreddits. I invited them to see if anybody wanted to come on to the broadcast and talk about their experience with Reddit, being a moderator, that type of thing. But I didn't get any response. Could be my fault. It may be that I didn't quite do it right. Oops, let me move my microphone towards me. Hopefully I'll have some information for you, or I could just show you. I mean, some of you might already know even more than me, like on how to use Reddit, but I actually go on to Reddit pretty regularly, especially in the instructional design channel, just for idea inspiration, conversation inspiration, and it's absolutely fascinating. So first thing, I would like to know if you do currently use Reddit, and I have a poll set up, and it just is a question saying, do you currently use Reddit? Are you a Redditor? And so it looks like people are starting to answer. We've got just over half of the folks that are saying yes. Okay, so you could probably pop up on screen and help me out with this conversation if you'd like. So if any of you do want to come on and talk about your experiences with Reddit, please let me know. Just hit me up in chat, and I'll invite you on screen. I would love to share what we've got going. Rubina says, I'm not read anything. Ooh, how appropriate that is for today. So let's just get into it. I do have kind of a slide deck that I set up while I was nervously refreshing Twitter last night. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. Application, Chrome tab. We're going to do this one. Okay, hopefully you guys can see it. Using Reddit as an L&D resource. Now, there are some specific things about using Reddit as an L&D resource, and let me start with a little bit of like what Reddit is. I think I pulled this off of Wikipedia, but basically Reddit calls itself the front page of the internet. And if you have an interest in pretty much like anything, more than likely there may be a group of people on Reddit that have the same interest and talk about it together on a regular basis. So, think about it. If you have any hobbies, like for me, guitar and songwriting, and I don't know, being a dad, I subscribe to there are things that I follow on Reddit that are related to even to Camtasia and Snagit, even local cities like the town that I live in now, Sebastopol. And in fact, I looked up my mom's town where she lives in Southern California. I looked up, and they have a subreddit which had some really, really interesting historical stuff in there that I loved being able to find out. So there you go. Gina's saying Star Wars theory. Take a look. There is a bunch of stuff on Reddit. So I guess maybe if you guys don't know, you can just go to reddit.com to get there. And you don't initially need to have a login to be able to participate. I created one like years ago. I think I've created a couple, but you don't need one to get into the basics of it and to browse. But if you want to be able to save some of your information and save like some of the subreddits that you're subscribed to, you're going to want to create a profile and do that. And also, if you want to be able to comment and post and upvote and participate in all of that stuff. So let's see here. This is just some information that I pulled about like why Reddit is popular. And like I said before, it just has everything. There's just so much here. It can be an incredible distraction, but if you do kind of focus on the topics that you do want to follow, it can be absolutely just incredibly helpful. If you guys you can sort of see this image here. I pasted this. I grabbed this shot last night. It's a basic interface where you can create a post and you can read sort of like what other people have created. And then this area here is kind of the arrow up and arrow down. It's sort of that upvote and downvote idea. So if you find a particular topic that interested you or that you feel like is relevant, you can upvote it so that it gets pushed up into into sort of the feed, and downvote stuff that isn't so interesting. And that is kind of what the power of Reddit is about, aside from it just being a bunch of communities. And I think that's one of the reasons why it really speaks to me, is because, being sort of the person that gets to nurture TLDC, I love the idea of communities and how they function. And I really do like the instructional design community that's on Reddit and all that. So let me get into that a little bit here. Let's see. I'm going to read some of the comments. Kim is saying the only things I've read on Reddit are about fountain pens. Happy fountain pen day today. Happy fountain pen day today. Wow. And fantasy author Brandon Sanderson. And Jack, it looks like you're probably a Redditor. I struggle with the people who post under an anonymous login. Yeah, isn't that pretty much the case about almost everything? Minecraft has a ton on Reddit. I'm sure my son would like to know about that. Taruna is saying, I sometimes see Reddit links in my search results, but I've never bumped into L&D related stuff on Reddit via my search results. Yeah, and generally, if you Google L&D and Reddit, you're not going to come up with learning and development. You're going to come up with labor and delivery. I've run into that a few times. There is a lot of nurse content on Reddit, and generally it goes to labor and delivery, which, yeah, it is kind of funny. I think I've heard that related before, but had just forgotten. And yes, Kim, it is. It's kind of like a vast amorphous wiki, but there is moderation there, and some of the groups can be moderated very strictly. Some are kind of just wild westy, and there is so much to find there. Let's see, what else did I come up with here? Oh, okay. So we're going to get into some of these subreddits. Let me just show you real quick. It's super easy to navigate. Let me switch my share to this Chrome tab. Oops, there. We'll go straight to Reddit, the front page. Okay, so this is my front page right now. Let's see. What are we looking at? Oh, here, I'm going to actually bring it so that I'm going to make it so it's what it looks like first thing. No, it doesn't do that. One of the things, there's a tab on the left, which can it sort of floats for me, but I end up locking it to the side. And this is where all of these, you can see that this is where all of my, the subreddits that I'm interested in are located. But generally up here, this is my old username, which is XONGZ. I'm not sure. I used to have a blog where I posted my songs, and that was my username. There are things up here like you can see stats, and you can do chat. You can actually send messages, which is where I was sending messages to the moderators of the subreddits to join. And there's this whole coin thing, which I'm really not that savvy about, so I couldn't tell you that much. I don't even know why I have 3 karma. I don't really pay attention to that stuff. I'm not a power user by far, but let me go into why I think it's cool. So here are the subreddits. You could type anything or look for anything, and there is a good chance that there may be a subreddit for it, right? So you can see these are some of the things that I found that I pay attention to, like Camtasia Studio, career success, data is beautiful. Oh, look, here's a subreddit called elearning. And the terminology, usually, I'm not sure why the R is relevant, but it's people always refer to it, from what I see, is r/elearning, and that kind of tells you that it's a subreddit. this background on here is absolutely horrific. I should let those people know I have actually used this background myself for TLDC. It's like regular, it's available out there for stock photo sites, but it's absolutely awful right now. But so check it out. Can you see that, or is that too confusing? I didn't realize how ugly this actually looks. Oh, and Devlin is here. Hey, Devlin. Gosh, I should have you come up because you are definitely a power user on the Reddit side, or at least you get a ton of traffic. In fact, you're listed on one of my slides. But you can see in this this e-learning subreddit, you can see that there are a variety of topics that people are here, and you can kind of have that endless scroll. You know what? This is driving me crazy. I'm going to go to the instructional design one because it's less busy. Okay, so here you go. You've got like tons of posts from people, and of course you've got ads, and they can all be organized by, you know, like right now you can see this, what's hot is sort of highlighted. If I click on what's new, it'll show what the newest posts are. And then you can go to this one, which is one of the ones that I look at on a regular basis, is like, what is the top, you know, upvoted topic or post of the day. So like today, this question: are there any ID design and navigation refresher courses online? Get past this ad. Moving to Fresno, California, looking for ID work. Does anyone know about Asima? Interesting, right? It's totally useful. Now you can actually do a variety of filters, like not just today, but this week, this month, this year, all time. So let's take a look at all time. So I don't know if you can see that one. Of course, all time, it's a meme, which is great. Okay, and Devlin is saying, I think it's a combination of upvotes and how long ago it was posted. Okay, all right. Now you can see over here, this is kind of important to note that this is how many upvotes it's gotten for this all-time one, 117. Let's go down here. This is kind of a pinned, which is sort of like a message, kind of a recurring message. Start here. New or interested in instructional design, don't make a new post. Start with this one. This one, 106 upvotes. This is funny that there's the top upvoted ones tend to be memes in this subreddit. I'd never realized that before. So we probably don't want to spend too much time there. But so these are the all-time ones. Let's take a look at, say, for this year. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. For this particular subreddit, they probably don't change that much. You can go to like much larger subreddits and the results totally change. For this month, oh yeah, see, speaking of Devlin, look at the top voted post for this month is his instructional designer salary report. Feel free to post a link to that, Devlin, if you want, or actually maybe I will, so I can just show you guys how this works. You click on the actual topic and you can see the content in there. And here is the stuff that Devlin posted. And Devlin, if you want to join in, feel free. I'd be happy to bring you on screen. But and here's the link to the full report. And then you could also see that you can comment here. You can respond to it. Here's the field for that. Looks like Devlin has responded to his post, as well as a couple of other people who may or may not even be in the audience. You never know. And the conversation goes like that. And I think that this particular subreddit, the instructional design one, is the best one that I've found on subreddit that is related to L&D, learning and development, not labor and delivery. But there are a couple of other ones. All right. So Devlin's saying he's good with coming on. Let me go ahead and throw an invite. Like I was saying, there's this e-learning one, and this one has some fantastic content too. Let's see what the top of all time is in the e-learning one. Hey, Devlin.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me on.
So let me ask you, how long have you been on? How long have you been a Redditor?
Probably since my freshman year in college, so quite a long while. And I think on there I would just view like the popular subreddits, more like entertainment type stuff. But when I started getting into instructional design, Reddit played a very key role because I found the instructional designer subreddit or the instructional design subreddit, and that's where I would ask all sorts of questions when I was getting started about like which Adobe tool would make the most sense to use, like is freelancing a viable option in this space? Questions like that, because there was a decent community of IDs there, especially you had some very successful ones. Like Chrissy Tucker hangs out there a lot. Ashley
Yep.
Chazon. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but I know I used to see her posting there a lot. I don't know if she still is as active.
Right.
And then anonymous people who I'm not sure who they are, but I know that they have a lot of experience just from how they talk and what they talk about. So that first year, I really leaned on the people in that community to try to like get a better like lay of the land in ID. And then as soon as I started getting to a point where I could help answer questions, I would just contribute. So yeah, I check the ID subreddit like multiple times a day just to see if anything's new and if there's anything I can contribute to. It's just like another social media, ID social media that I keep an eye on and try to contribute to. And I'm actually a mod there too. So
you're a mod. Did you get my message? How come nobody responded to my message?
I'm not okay. I will say I know I don't know all the mod tools. I just try to remove stuff that's like super aggressive, which isn't very common, but sometimes people just post rude stuff or post like some spammy links. So I basically just try to remove stuff that I know people don't want to see.
All right. Yeah, I'm like, oh no.
But I don't think I did not see a message from you, so I don't know.
Oh, good, okay. That makes me feel better because I'm like, oh man, this is like these people are not very nice. No. But I really do like, this instructional. What I really like about the instructional design subreddit is, like having been in this space for as long as I have, I see like there are these different camps, right? Like in L&D, and this is just my own weird perspective of things. But I always like when I was at the e-learning guild, there was the e-learning guild camp, there was the ATD camp, there was the training industry camp, there was the training magazine camp. There were all these different sort of like groups out there that sort of, for some reason, they didn't really overlap with one another. Everyone sort of had their clique, and it always used to frustrate me because I'm like, why are I mean, I remember going to an ATD event and like I told them that I worked at the e-learning guild, and the guy literally like left the table, and I was like, what?
Wow.
So weird. But the folks that are in these subreddits don't exist in that universe. Like everyone is like, I love like seeing new people come in, and some of the questions that come in from people that might be more focused on user experience or even just UI and or graphic design. That's stuff that you don't really see in other places, like even on LinkedIn. I just find there's a really more of a fresh perspective on Reddit than there is like in a lot of the other places that I frequent. And I really, really like that. I would say that the instructional design subreddit is far more effective at getting answers from people than like say something than even the TLDC Slack group. But not that I'm trying to like drive people away from what we do in Slack. But this is a great place to go if you have a question and you want to see if, and you're looking for help. But you definitely need to, something I want to point out is, especially in this instructional design subreddit, and I don't know how much you had to do with this, Devlin, but having the wiki here, if you guys can see that, I just clicked on it. This is really helpful. And there's a lot of great information, especially for newer instructional designers, just resources that you can go to so that you don't ask questions that have been asked countless times in this subreddit. So make sure you guys hit that up if you're starting out and you want to use it. And let's see. And yeah, also you can see something that's important to me is you take a look at how many members are actually in this community, and how long it's been in existence. When you're looking at some of these subreddits, that can actually be kind of important, because if it's something where there's like 6 people that are that are members of a community and and it was just created a few days ago, then you probably know what kind of experience you're up for. let me read some of the comments in chat here. Let's see. Justin is saying, agreed. I follow a lot of subs that are related to the tools of the trade or things like UX and API. Keeps me on my toes and current with what's going on in other realms. I mean, Devlin, when you are, as far as the Reddit is concerned, when you looked at your general sort of, I guess maybe social network or social platform usage, where would you put Reddit in comparison to, say LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, any of those?
So yeah, LinkedIn, definitely spend the most of my time there. That's where I'm the most active, just because I feel like that's where the most conversations are happening. Twitter, so Reddit would probably come beneath that, but like a far second. And I post some stuff on Twitter, but it's kind of just like, oh, here's a new video, here's a new article. I'm not super consistent on there. So Reddit's a distant second from LinkedIn, but this subreddit has helped me. I've even had potential clients reach out and I asked them where they found me, and some of them have even said Reddit, which I was kind of surprised by. But yeah, I mean, this sub is active. It's not like extremely active. It's not like LinkedIn where you can just keep scrolling and always see a new thread. But the other thing about Reddit is most people are anonymous. They just use this random username. So so I think that's why some people are a little bit more aggressive than they would be on LinkedIn or something. Right. So that is something to look out for. Some people are very opinionated on this subreddit about different ideas.
Yeah. No, I think I can't remember his name. I know we've had early on, we've had a few guests that were moderators. I don't think it was of this particular subreddit. I think it may have been it was probably the e-learning subreddit. And it's just interesting how, I kind of watching over the last few years, the instructional design one has continued to kind of be really strong and to grow. But the other one, like the e-learning one and the training one kind of seems to have really slowed down, and you don't get as much worthwhile information, which, it's work. It takes work, but you can see that there are actually 4 people in here right now that are hanging out. So on the just the topic of Reddit as a whole, are there any other subreddits that you personally would recommend?
One that I used a lot in college, and I think it's how I got my finances in order, was the personal finance subreddit. I don't know the state of it these days, but it's really helpful for me. There was a churning subreddit about using credit cards to get their bonuses and make money. I was doing that a lot in college. These days I use Reddit primarily for the instructional design subreddit, but if I just want to do some mindless scrolling, I'm following tons of subs, so I'll just go onto my other account, which is following all of those, because I have an account that's only following instructional design, so I can just see what's new there.
And that's useful, right? Like having the 2 separate accounts.
Yeah, and it's really easy because I almost never use it on my computer. It's always on my phone. So you just slide over, press a different account, and it's a different feed. So it's a handy way to keep things organized. And I switched over to Devlin Peck to that account to post in the IB subreddit, just because I didn't really want to be anonymous there anymore.
So definitely. Do you use the actual Reddit mobile app? I've never used that one. I've always just used the web version.
Yeah, I just use the Reddit mobile app.
Okay, awesome.
I follow other subs. I follow content marketing, Fat Fire. It's these people multimillionaires who are, and again, it's not super quality stuff. Reddit, you need to kind of sift through it to find the quality stuff, just because it's anonymous. Anyone can post anything they want. But that's what the upvote feature is for. So
yeah. Kim is asking, is there a lot of abuse or opportunity for abuse? To be honest, I got freaked out by Gamergate a few years ago and am very wary online. I think that in certain I think if you kind of have to choose wisely as far as and I don't know what kind of spam or what kind of aggressive posts you get as a moderator in the instructional design one. But I'm somebody that's pretty particular about where I go on the web. And so, Reddit can be a pretty toxic place in certain places, right? Um, so, but I
Yeah.
don't.
Reddit's at the point, like, you can kind of even just think about Reddit as like the web in and of itself, just because there's so many different communities. Like, I don't know if there's a number of how many subreddits there are, but it's probably like a million or something
Yeah.
ridiculous. So each subreddit is like its own kind of vibe, and each subreddit is its own community, basically. So yeah, I would say the instructional design one isn't toxic in the same way that some of these actual toxic subreddits are. So
Yeah.
it's just some
No,
people who maybe get frustrated with someone else's point of view, and they just aren't as respectful as they could be. That's what I'd say the toxicness is in the ID subreddit.
and I think to make it like valuable, like Kim and Taruna, like really you sort of have to, like, for instance, in this instructional design subreddit, if I remember correctly, there's a bunch of moderators, right? There you go.
Yeah.
So view all the moderators. So these are all the folks, Devlin included, that are watching this subreddit to make sure that it's that it's a safe place. See, there's Chris Anthony, and so, I think that's important, right? If you're looking at some of the other ones, like let's take a look at the e-learning one. I don't recall. Who have we got? You've got 3 of them. Oh yeah. Oxala 75. Who is that? That is somebody I know. But there's 3 people that are looking out for it. How much time they spend on it, have no idea. But I would say that the instructional design one is a safe one to go to. And you really, like, I would avoid, like, or definitely don't subscribe to anything that is going to be particularly like toxic. You want to stay away from that. And for the most part, I don't ever really have a problem, but I can see how, some folks would. One of the things, let's see.
I also have to hop onto a meeting, so I have to say my farewells.
All right. Thanks, Devlin. Thanks for popping in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah. And Tarun is saying, I think there is value that can be derived from curation done by moderators. Absolutely. And Kim saying, I can see solid value in following specific subreddits, especially for our field. Like, I do get some topic ideas from going to Reddit and just seeing what kind of conversations are happening there. In the instructional design subreddit in particular, there is a ton of stuff happening right now, especially with like teachers moving to ID and just career focused kind of conversations, building out a portfolio. And that's one of the reasons why I think it's so useful, because it's just continually going. And although certain conversations or certain posts don't get upvoted like whatever dozens of times, even the ones that are upvoted a couple times, 2 or 3 times, they can have value for you if you want to find some or get answers or say sort of inspire ideas. Let's see. And I did want to go into this part of it where you can, like, at the same time get really sort of, you can go down a rabbit hole by clicking on what's popular right now. And this can be a real time suck. Some of it is incredibly interesting. I have to admit that there have been a few times where I've gone through and seen people's stories, things that they've posted that were extremely personal to them, that they posted on Reddit, and they've like inspired songs for me. Like I've written lyrics about, they've just given me inspiration for emotions or ideas of I don't know, lyrics and melodies. So that part of it is interesting. Now I also want to just leave you guys with this part. Things like, this subreddit with Camtasia Studio and, career success. Even for me, I used to go to Entrepreneur a lot when I was starting out, trying to figure out, like, what is this whole TLDC thing we're trying to do here? personal finance. There are a lot of really, really helpful subreddits that you can go to and get a ton of information from. Even with fitness and weight loss, it's absolutely incredible in there, like what you can find. So Reddit overall, I think, can be a real positive for you, but it does take some work. Let's see. Yes. Hassan is saying, I find the search function very useful, like a mini Google with subreddits. Totally agree. If I have trouble finding something, I will go to Reddit and I will actually search in here for an answer. And a lot of times I get some decent results. Kim is saying, I'm remembering Craig's strategy of scheduling number of minutes a day for social media, all platforms put together. I need to do that next week. Yes, hopefully. I'm hoping that my social media sort of browsing is down by a significant amount next week, and I really do think it will be. Okay, C is asking, what are the links to these different subreddit pages? I do have a slide deck that has links to them, but this is what you can do is if you go to, let me just run through this real quick. If you go back to Reddit and then, for instance, just pull up, let's do a search for instructional design. Going to pull up the subreddit. You guys, hopefully you can see that there. I'm going to click on that and you could see up here, reddit.com/r/instructional design. That's what tells you you are actually in the subreddit. And what you can do is, I already follow this one. So I think that the follow, yeah, it would probably be up here where you just follow it after you log in with, with an account. You follow it and then it's going to be in your community list on the left here. Can you not just paste the URL? Yeah, I can. Absolutely. That's how to, let's see. So that was the way to find these things. And there's the URL to the instructional design one. I'll go ahead and I can post one in for the e-learning one if you want to check that out. And I do have like a set of slides where I took all of the top posts for the year and all time and the month and the week and the day and put them on slides, but I'm not going to go into that. That's a little too extreme. So there you go. There's all the posts to these particular L&D related subreddits. Yeah, and I'll post a slide deck in Slack. Absolutely. Thanks, Kim. Thanks. That's a great idea. So that's pretty much it. Let me go into the question area and see what we got. Rubina's asking, can you connect to other people? If so, how? That is a good question. I have looked at other people's profiles and just sort of taken a look at what they've posted in the past. It's really easy to do that, but I don't know if there is a way to actually connect with them. I know that you can send people messages. If anybody that is I don't know exactly how the connection piece of it works. It's not like, from what I know, it's not like say Facebook or Twitter where you follow people. But I could be wrong. I don't think that's the way that it operates, though. It's more following topics and upvoting what is relevant, what isn't, that type of thing. And let's see, are there job post communities for L&D? I don't see one. That said, like we were looking earlier at this instructional design one, and I see stuff like this on a regular basis, like where somebody moving to Fresno, California and looking for ID work. There are a lot. I mean, there's definitely regular requests for people looking for jobs or people having jobs to offer. So you can just go to this subreddit on a weekly basis and take a look for that stuff. I mean, just look at some of these topics. I just posted a day ago, interview questions, tips. We talked about that Asima one, learning Addy. That little, this one is pretty interesting. They have something in the instructional design subreddit, which they call, what are you working on Wednesdays? Oh, there you go. What are you working on? That is really interesting. And I think it's a great way of being able to check in with your community. You guys should check it out. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Hassan's saying you can follow people on Reddit and you can message them. I'm following Devlin at here. So let's see. Let's take a look at that. I have never seen that before, and I am looking at it now. Very interesting. Wet Doritos. Okay. That must be Devlin's username. All right. So, do you guys have any other questions? I really think that Reddit is useful personally, and I would actually prefer Reddit. Well, it definitely, I probably go to Reddit more than I go to LinkedIn. I think that LinkedIn has become a little, every time I go to LinkedIn, it feels like I have a lot of work to do because I have so many connection requests and, I just a bunch of stuff. And so it's never a quick and easy just to go to LinkedIn. It's always like, I better check in on LinkedIn. Sorry to say that, but if I need something quick, Reddit seems to be kind of a go-to for me. Twitter has been useful, but not as much on the L&D side of things for sure lately. Mostly just with staying in touch and checking in on the folks that are in the community. And I just don't really do Facebook anymore. But Reddit is a regular part of my day, and I don't really think about it that much. It's just something that I will jump in every once in a while and then easily leave. So hopefully this stuff was helpful for you. I would love to hear what your experiences are like. Posting in this instructional design subreddit, I think is something that would probably be, it's really, really easy for one. And if you've got questions, more than likely, like somebody like Devlin or Chris Anthony, and there are other folks that are in there that are Christy Tucker that are absolutely like experienced instructional designers that can help answer some of your questions. Hopefully that you could find that you'd find that useful for you. And yeah, so that's it. That's what I got. And it's Friday. So I am going to go celebrate. You're welcome, Rubina. And you guys, thanks for coming in today. Have a great weekend. Monday, we're having a DevLearn wrap up. And I think that's going to be fun. Let's see. Kara North is going to be there. I actually have one of my pals from the guild, Crystal Rose is going to be there. I think, hopefully she's a little intimidated by the idea. And we've got a few other guests. So we're going to be talking about DevLearn on Monday. And I don't know, Rubina, you've got one coming up, I think on the 16th with Heidi Kirby. And I'm still booking some stuff out. I think that the programming for my, for the broadcasts this month have been really, really slow. And I think people aren't responding to a lot of messages right now, but hopefully that'll change now that, mine traffic is starting to slow down a little bit. All right, you guys. Thanks, Justin. Everybody, we'll see you next week. Enjoy your weekend.